Okay, so the last thing that we need to do with our monster is to create that jump scare kill scene. So we will go to BP Bookhead Monster. We will go down here and we'll create a new custom event, and let's call it Jump Scare. So first of all, we want to make sure that this enemy, this monster, is facing the player. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can just set actor rotation. Set actor rotation, and this rotation we will just find a look at rotation, and the start will just be get actor location, so location of the monster, and the end will be location of our player. Then what we will do is we will just stop the enemy from moving. So we can just get character movement, and we will do disable movement, so he can no longer move. And we want to do the same thing for the player. So let's just grab our player reference, and from here what we can do is disable input. Okay, disable input, and it asks for player controller, so we can just get player controller. So I want to make the camera move and look at the monster's hand when he's attacking to make this feel more interesting. So we will create a variable for that. This variable will be called lock camera question mark. By default, it will be set to false, but here, when we are attacking the player, we want to set this to true. And we will take care of the camera a little bit later. But now, the most important thing that we want to do is to play animation. So we can search for play montage this time. Not this play anim montage, just regular play montage. And what montage is basically is like a animation that we can play on top of other animations. And you can see we have no option to select from here because we need to actually create the montage. So if we will go to content, main, bookhead monster, animations, we have this swiping. This is the attack animation. So what we can do is we can right click here, and now we can just create anim montage. And we don't need to rename this. The naming is pretty good. And if you open this up, it's a regular animation, but it can be played on top of different animations. And now really, really important is this group right here, this default group default slot. This is a slot that the animation will play in. So now the last thing that we need to do in animation blueprint is we need to go back to this locomotion, back to animation graph. And here, before we plug this state machine to output, we need to add this slot default slot. So this default slot will be played on top of this locomotion, and in this default slot, this animation montage will play. Okay, so now we can close this. We can also compile, save, and close the animation blueprint. And now here in this animation, and now here in this blueprint monster, we can select this mutant swiping montage. So he will actually play this montage, but now also we need to select, we need to plug in the mesh. So let's do that. And when we play the montage, we can also just play sound 2D. And the sound that we will play is Bookhead Monster. After that, I want to change the player's field of view to make this scene look a little bit nicer. So we can just grab our player reference, get camera reference, so it should be down there, get camera. And from this camera, we can set field of view, and I will set new field of view to 120. So we will just see the enemy a little bit better. From the player, we also want to grab our spotlight, which is our flashlight. It should be down there, okay? And I want to enable this. But before we enable this flashlight, I want to also change it a little bit. So we will set outer cone angle to 60, just to make this cutscene a little bit better. And from here, we can check if it is visible, do a branch, and if the flashlight is not visible, what we can do is we can just set visibility to true. So this new visibility should be set to true. And also we can just play sound 2D, which will be our flashlights on. So let's go over this one more time. Whenever the enemy attacks the player, first of all, we are rotating the enemy to face the player. We're disabling movement for player and enemy. Then we're playing the attack animation, and we are turning on the flashlight so we can actually see the enemy. If the flashlight is turned off, we need to turn it on to make the enemy visible. But when the enemy hits us, we also want to do something. So how can we do that? If you open up this swiping montage, we can add different notifies as well. So we can right click, add notify, and montage notify. So now whenever this arm is hitting the player, something like here maybe, I will make this notify a, let's call this break flashlight. And then we will also add another one. So right click, add notify, montage notify. And this will be around like maybe here. And this notify will be stop camera. So our camera is no longer following the arm. So now if we go back to Bookhead Monster, we have this on notify begin. So we will do branch, and here we have notify name. So we can see if the notify name is equal to our break flashlight. So we can type break flashlight right here, connect it to this branch. And now when the notify break flashlight begins, or actually let's do the stop camera first, it will be a little bit easier. So whenever the stop camera notify begins, we will just make the lock camera to false. When this is false, so some notify was, so notify begin, but it's not the stop camera, we can duplicate this equal to, and we can see if this is our break flashlight notify, and if it is our break flashlight notify, what we can do is we can just play sound at location or 2D, it'll be better option. We have this bulb break, which we will use later as well, but it will do the job. And obviously we need to get player reference, get the spotlight, and set visibility to false. And we will also play sound 2D. We will just play a hit sound. Okay, compile save. So I know this is maybe a lot, but we are done with the Jumpscare custom event. So now where do we want to call this event? That's pretty simple. We need to call this whenever we have this chase the player, and when we actually reach the player, instead of doing that print string, we can just call this Jumpscare custom event, and it should work fine. Of course, we're not locking the camera yet. I will show you how to do that in a second, but for now, we can see how this actually works. So when I press play, I collect the page, the monsters sees me, and now, yeah, you can see he attacks me, sound effects are playing, flashlight is turning on and off, and this is looking really nice. But as you can see, it doesn't feel great because the camera is just static. It doesn't feel that our player is actually moving. So we will fix that with the lock camera. So let's go to Bookhead Monster. We can comment this thing as a jump scare. Okay. And now we actually need to go and create event tick. So on event tick, we will create a branch to see if the camera should be locked. And if the camera should be locked, what we will do is we will just get player controller, and we will set control rotation. So we will rotate the controller. So what position we want to rotate the controller to? We will just use something called rinterp2. So it will interpolate from one value to another value. So the current value will obviously be our player reference get control rotation. And as for the targets, that will be also pretty simple. We will just look at the enemy's arm when he's attacking. So we will find look at rotation. And we also need start and target. So the start is our player's location. So just get player reference, get camera because it should be the camera location, get camera and get world location. And that will be our start. And as for the end, we will just get the mesh of the enemy. And from here, we can get socket location. So get socket location basically gets a bone location. If you click on the mesh and we will open it up, you can see there is the entire skeleton. We have a lot of different bones. So we can look at, for example, lower arm L. So the camera will just consistently be looking at the lower arm L. So in here, we can type the name of this bone, lower arm underscore L, connect it to target. And now if we compile, we can see there's no error, but we also need to plug in delta time and we need to set the interpolation speed. So for the delta time, we can just get world delta seconds, and interpolation time, we can type a value of like 10. Let's compile, save, and let's see how this looks right now. Yeah, this is way better. You can see the enemy, if he'll chase us, he attacks us and our camera follows his left arm, the attacking arm, and this entire cutscene just feels more alive. And obviously now we will display the dev screen that we will create later. But yeah, that's pretty much all we need to do with the enemy, and we cannot move, enemy can't move. So yeah, that's it for the enemy.